Hey guys, so for this video, I'm going to do something a little different than usual. I want to showcase 6 of the most underrated players in the world. You may know or have heard of some of these players before, especially if you follow the competitive scene closely, but to most people, these beasts are relatively unknown. On top of that, I've decided to include players from NA East, NA West, EU, and OCE. So I'd be very surprised if any of you guys watching knew all of these players. This is not a top 6 video, meaning the players will not be ranked and they'll be presented in no particular order. Just know they're among the best of the best, and I think they all deserve way more recognition for their hard work. Before we get into it though, I wanted to let you guys know my longtime partner Pro Guides has added a ton of new features to their site, including exclusive guide videos for their pro members every single day, up to 10 more free coaching passes for pro users, and that the Pro Pass now includes access to every major game you can think of. So if you're interested, click the link in the description below to check it all out. With that being said, let's jump into the video, starting with the young god that's been dominating in NA West, KNG Macon. Macon has recently started gaining a little bit more notoriety after getting picked up by Team Congarna and consistently placing well in tournaments. To be more specific, he's placed 1st, 4th, and 7th in the last few solo cash cups, and has triple qualified for the Fortnite Championship Series in trios. This is largely due to his aggressive W key style gameplay. The kid is a pure slayer, and you can see that in both his gameplay, as well as the fact he averaged 5.2 elims per game in the solo cup he won. That's actually ridiculous to think about. Now, 2 of the main reasons he's so good at W keying are first, his box fighting skills, and second, his sensitivity. Anytime you push someone in the current meta, especially a good player during a tournament, they'll almost always turtle up and try to box fight you. Macon's still able to slay out though because of how good he is in these situations. He's constantly making the right edits, outplaying his opponents with mind games, and connecting on fat pumps from up close. Oh, and he also plays on less than 10 ping, which definitely does help him out. The most interesting thing about Macon to me is that he plays on a relatively high sensitivity. I feel like most top tier pros play on low sense, and then there's Macon, tearing it up on 800 DPI and .164 in-game sense. This is why I'm always saying, sensitivity comes down to preference. So if you're looking for an extremely aggressive player to learn from, go check out Macon as soon as possible. Next on my list is Envy Bucky. Some of you guys might know Bucky from the YouTube video he posted of his dad helping him qualify for the World Cup. I'm not even kidding. His dad was literally in a call with him, and he basically kept Bucky calm and helped him make decisions in game. It's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Fortnite. What most people don't know about Bucky though is that he's one of the most well-rounded players in the world. In trios, he plays with Sen Aspect and Sen Animal. Together, they've double qualified for the Fortnite Championship Series on NA East, including winning week 3, and they won the Trio Cash Cup in the same week. In solos, Bucky has also been placing near the top, and as I mentioned before, he qualified for the World Cup on upwards of 30 ping. To a lot of you guys, that may not sound too high, but for competitive Fortnite, especially back during the World Cup qualifiers, that is very impressive. The one thing that really stuck out to me after watching him was how insane his aim is. Bucky is consistently lasering people out of the sky and hitting crucial shots when he needs to. He may not be the fastest or the flashiest builder in the world, but his aim is up there with the best of the best, like Tfue and Mongrel. Altogether, Bucky is a very down-to-earth and humble kid who's also insane at Fortnite. He streams pretty regularly, so I highly recommend checking him out. Third is Zhouray, an Australian player that's been temporarily staying in the US and has been destroying NA tournaments. You may have noticed a weird trio always at the top of the leaderboards that go by the names of Clean Tigers, King Hitter 69, and Yoinkmeister. That's actually Zhouray and his teammates Jolins and Parpy. Not even a week after he moved to NA, he placed 2nd in a Solos Cash Cup and 2nd in the Trios Cash Cup. Then, the week after that, they qualified for the Fortnite Championship Series by winning week 4, and Zhouray placed 3rd in another Solo Cash Cup. That kind of consistency in such a short span of time is absurd, not even to mention he's from the OCE region, which most people tend to overlook. I won't go over the rest of his placements because there's honestly way too many, but you can clearly see why he decided to move to NA. Zhouray's playstyle is very similar to Makin's. The one Cash Cup he placed second in, he was the only person in the entire top 20 to not win a game. Yet, he tied for the most points based off consistency and eliminations. The way I describe him is he's one of the players that's always in the right place at the right time, making the right move. When you watch him, you're not going to be blown away by his mechanics or his aim, but rather his positioning, decision making, and incredibly methodical gameplay. The unfortunate part about Zhouray is he doesn't stream or upload that much. Hopefully he will soon, but be on the lookout for him and his teammates to keep clapping in North America. Number 4 is an EU god from the UK, Misfits Aries. Aries was recently picked up by Misfits Gaming along with his trio teammates Osmo and Kylix. Outside of the big names like Mongrel, Mitro, and Benji, or Stompy, Chinkin, and Aqua, they've been one of the best and most consistent trios in EU. Not only did they win the first EU Trio Cash Cup, but they double qualified for the Fortnite Championship Series in arguably the hardest region. Besides trios though, Aries has been performing well in solos and duos for a long time. Aries placed 11th in the EU Winter Royale Finals back in Season 7, 5th and 7th in the Lux and Scallywag Cups, as well as 9th at ESL Katowice. I personally love watching Aries because of how good he is mechanically. He reminds me a lot of Bugha because he never messes up builds or edits. He's always winning 1v1s and box fights because of the speed and quickness of his edits. The first time I tuned into his stream, he was holding wagers, and I kid you not, he did not lose all stream. Even against the sweatiest creative builders in EU, the kind of dudes who spend 12 hours a day doing phase sway retakes, Aries did not drop one series. Obviously, wagers won't necessarily tell you who the better player is overall. My point is just to emphasize how cracked out Aries is, and to try to explain why he's so good. All in all, if you're a creative warrior that needs help transferring their creative skills to real matches and scrims, watch Aries as soon as you can. The 5th player I'm going to talk about is FlyQuest Edgy. Yes, this is the same Edgy that the Fortnite guy and that Denver guy made videos about because of some drama surrounding his contract. I'm not going to get into it, just know #FreeEdgy. Anyways, Edgy, along with his trio teammates Scented and Rex, are by far the best trio in NA West. In total, they've won 8 trio events. 8. There's only been 10 in total, and they've come first in 8 of them, second in another, and 12th in the other. That's unheard of in Fortnite esports. To add on to that, Edgy recently placed first in a solo Cash Cup, and barely missed out on qualifying for Worlds in both solos and duos. If I had to describe Edgy's playstyle, he's basically a jack of all trades. His mechanics are top tier, his game sense is top tier, and he can constantly perform well in big tournaments. An interesting little thing I picked up while watching him do 1v1s is how insane he is at both building and editing. I don't know what it is about Edgy, but I swear it almost looks like he's not trying half the time. Then all of a sudden, you'll see him pull off some insane retake like this one with ease. Edgy does stream pretty regularly, especially towards the end of tournaments when his trio is winning by like 30 points. So if you're looking for some top tier solo and trio gameplay, there's no one better to watch. The 6th and final underrated beast is TSM Commandment. At only 14 years old, Commandment is the youngest on my list, and surprisingly, the oldest in terms of his competitive career. If you've been following the competitive scene for a while, then you'll definitely remember Commandment back at the beginning of Fortnite esports and scrims. This was way back when Chap was landing at Wailing Woods and Poach was landing at Containers. You would always see Commandment's name at the end of the match. Somehow to this day, Commandment has remained a top player and competitor. In the first week of solo qualifiers, Commandment placed 4th and qualified for the World Cup. With his trio teammates, Creo and High Sky, not the one in FaZe, they placed first in the first ever Trio Cash Cup and qualified twice for the Fortnite Championship Series. The reason Commandment's been so good for almost 2 years now is his very passive and placement-oriented playstyle. When he needs to, he can push and W key for kills, but as a veteran of the scene, he prioritizes placement and wins. The one thing I don't like about him is that he does not stream or post to YouTube ever. which ruins part of my title for the video. Still, it's hard to deny how good and underrated he is. So I guess drop him a follow on Twitter in case he sees this and starts dropping some content. Overall, those were who I believe are 6 of the most underrated Fortnite players in the world. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and to turn on post notifications. Huge thank you to everyone using code Zhouray. Remember to enter my 300k subscriber giveaway if you haven't already. Just go to my Twitter and follow the steps there. Otherwise, that's it from me, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.